when he whose power is incomprehensible, had thus produced the universe and men, he disappeared in himself, repeatedly suppressing one period by means of the other. When that divine one wakes, then this world stirs; when he slumbers tranquilly, then the universe sinks to sleep. But when he reposes in calm sleep, the corporeal beings whose nature is action, desist from their actions and mind becomes inert. When they are absorbed all at once in that great soul, then he who is the soul of all beings sweetly slumbers, free from all care and occupation. When this soul has entered darkness, it remains for a long time united with the organs of sensation, but performs not its functions. It then leaves the corporeal frame. When, being clothed with minute particles only, it enters into vegetable or animal seed, it then assumes, united with the fine body, a new corporeal frame. Thus he, the imperishable one, by alternately waking and slumbering, incessantly revivifies and destroys this whole movable and immovable creation. But he, having composed these institutes of the sacred law, himself taught them, according to the rule, to me alone in the beginning. Next I taught them to Mariki and the other sages. Brigu, here, will fully recite to you these institutes, for that sage learned the whole in its entirety from me. Then that great sage Brigu, being thus addressed by Manu, spoke, pleased in his heart, to all the sages, listen. 6 other high-minded, very powerful Manas, who belong to the race of this Manu, the descendant of the self-existent, Svayambhu, and who have severally produced created beings, are, Svarkasha, Atami, Tamasa, Raivata, Kakshasha, possessing great luster, and the son of Vivasvat. These 7 very glorious Manas, the first among whom is Svayambhuva, produced and protected this whole movable and immovable creation, each during the period allotted to him. 18 Nimshas, twinklings of the eye, are 1 Kashtha, 30 Kashthas 1 Kala, 30 Kalas 1 Muhurta, and as many Muhurtas, 1 day and night. The sun divides days and nights, both human and divine, the night, being intended, for the repose of created beings and the day for exertion. A month is a day and a night of the Manes, but the division is according to fortnights. The dark, fortnight, is their day for active exertion, the bright, fortnight, their night for sleep. A year is a day and a night of the gods, their division is, as follows: the half year during which the sun progresses to the north will be the day, that during which it goes southwards the night. But hear now the brief description of the duration of a night and a day of Braham and of the several ages of the world, Yuga, according to their order. They declare that the Krita age consists of 4,000 years, of the gods, the twilight preceding it consists of as many hundreds, and the twilight following it of the same number. In the other 3 ages with their twilights preceding and following, the thousands and hundreds are diminished by 1, in each. These 12,000 years, which thus have been just mentioned as the total of 4 human ages, are called 1 age of the gods. But know that the sum of 1,000 ages of the gods makes 1 day of Braham, and that his night has the same length. Those, only, who know that the holy day of Braham, indeed, ends after the completion of 1,000 ages of the gods, and that his night lasts as long, are really men acquainted fault with the length of days and nights. At the end of that day and night he who is asleep, awakes and, after awaking, creates mind, which is both real and unreal. Mind, impelled by Braham's desire to create, performs the work of creation by modifying itself, thence ether is produced. They declare that sound is the quality of the latter. But from ether, modifying itself, springs the pure, powerful wind, the vehicle of all perfumes, that is held to possess the quality of touch. Next, from wind modifying itself, proceeds the brilliant light, which illuminates and dispels darkness, that is declared to possess the quality of color. And from light, modifying itself, is produced water, possessing the quality of taste, from water earth which has the quality of smell. Such is the creation in the beginning. The before mentioned age of the gods, or 12,000, of their years, being multiplied by 71, constitutes what is here named the period of a Manu, Manvantara. The Manvantaras, the creations and destructions, of the world, are numberless, sporting, as it were. Braham repeats this again and again. In the Krita age Dharma is four-footed and entire, and, so is, truth, nor does any gain accrue to men by unrighteousness. In the other, three ages, by reason of, unjust, gains, agama, Dharma is deprived successively of 1 foot, and through, the prevalence of, theft, falsehood, and fraud the merit, gained by men, is diminished by 1/4, in each. Men are, free from disease, accomplish all their aims, and live 400 years in the Krita age, but in the Treta and, in each of, the succeeding, ages, their life is lessened by 1/4. The life of mortals, mentioned in the Veda, the desired results of sacrificial rites and the, supernatural, power of embodied, spirits, are fruits proportioned among men according to, the character of, the age. One set of duties, is prescribed, for men in the Krita age, different ones in the Treta and in the Dvapara, and, again, another, set, in the Kali, in a proportion as, those, ages decrease in length. In the Krita age the chief, virtue, is declared to be, the performance of, austerities, in the Treta, divine, knowledge, in the Dvapara, the performance of, sacrifices, in the Kali liberality alone. But in order to protect this universe he, the most resplendent one, assigns separate, duties and, occupations to those who sprang from his mouth, arms, thighs, and feet. To Brahmanas he assigned teaching and studying, the Veda, sacrificing for their own benefit and for others, giving and accepting, of alms. The Kshatriya he commanded to protect the people, to bestow gifts, to offer sacrifices, to study, the Veda, and to abstain from attaching himself to sensual pleasures. The Vaishya to tend cattle, to bestow gifts, to offer sacrifices, to study, the Veda, to trade, to lend money, and to cultivate land. One occupation only the Lord prescribed to the Sudra, to serve meekly even these, other, 3 castes. Man is stated to be purer above the navel, than below, hence the self-existent, Svayambhu, has declared the purest, part, of him, to be, his mouth. As the Brahmana sprang from, Braham's, mouth, as he was the firstborn, and as he possesses the Veda, he is by right the lord of this whole creation. For the self-existent, Svayambhu, having performed austerities, produced him first from his own mouth, in order that the offerings might be conveyed to the gods and manes and that this universe might be preserved. What created being can surpass him, through whose mouth the gods continually consume the sacrificial viands and the manes the offerings to the dead? Of created beings the most excellent are said to be those which are animated, of the animated, those which subsist by intelligence, of the intelligent, mankind, and of men, the Brahmanas. Of Brahmanas, those learned, in the Veda, of the learned, those who recognize, the necessity and the manner of performing the prescribed duties, of those who possess this knowledge, those who perform them, of the performers, those who know the Brahman. The very birth of a Brahmana is an eternal incarnation of the sacred law, for he is born to, fulfill, the sacred law, and becomes one with Brahman. A Brahmana, coming into existence, is born as the highest on earth, the lord of all created beings, for the protection of the treasury of the law. Whatever exists in the world is, the property of the Brahmana, on account of the excellence of his origin the Brahmana is, indeed, entitled to all. The Brahmana eats but his own food, wears but his own apparel, bestows but his own inams, other mortals subsist through the benevolence of the Brahmana. In order to clearly settle his duties those of the other, castes, according to their order, wise Manu sprung from the self-existent, composed these institutes, of the sacred law. A learned Brahmana must carefully study them, and he must duly instruct his pupils in them, but nobody else, shall do it. A Brahmana who studies these institutes, and, faithfully fulfills the duties, prescribed therein, is never tainted by sins, arising from thoughts, words, or deeds. He sanctifies any company, which he may enter, 7 ancestors and 7 descendants, and he alone deserves, to possess, this whole earth. To study, this, work, is the best means of securing welfare, it increases understanding, it procures fame and long life, it leads to supreme bliss. In this work, the sacred law has been fully stated, as well as the good and bad qualities of human actions and the immemorial rule of conduct, to be followed by all the four castes, Varna. The rule of conduct is transcendent law, whether it be taught in the revealed texts or in the sacred tradition, hence a twice-born man who possesses regard for himself, should be always careful to follow it. A Brahmana who departs from the rule of conduct, does not reap the fruit of the Veda, but he who duly follows it, will obtain the full reward. The sages who saw that the sacred law is thus grounded on the rule of conduct, have taken good conduct to be the most excellent root of all austerity. The creation of the universe, the rule of the sacraments, the ordinances of studentship, and the respectful behavior towards gurus, the most excellent rule of bathing, on return from the teacher's house. The law of marriage and the description of the various marriage rites, the regulations for the great sacrifices and the eternal rule of the funeral sacrifices. The description of the modes of gaining subsistence and the duties of a snataka, the rules regarding lawful and forbidden food, the purification of men and of things. The laws concerning women, the law of hermits, the manner of gaining final emancipation and of renouncing the world, the whole duty of a king and the manner of deciding lawsuits. The rules for the examination of witnesses, the laws concerning husband and wife, the law of inheritance and division, the law concerning gambling and the removal of innocuous like thorns. The law concerning the behavior of Vaisyas and Sudras, the origin of the mixed castes, the law for all castes in times of distress and the law of penances. The threefold course of transmigrations, the result of good or bad actions, the manner of attaining supreme bliss and the examination of the good and bad qualities of actions. The primeval laws of countries, of castes, gati, of families, and the rules concerning heretics and companies, of traders and the like, all that Manu has declared in these institutes. As Manu, in reply to my questions, formerly promulgated these institutes, even so learn ye also the whole work from me.